When words take flight and truth finds light. Welcome to I Need a Mic. What's good with you folks? What's good with you folks? Right here with another I Need a Mic poetry story podcast. Or I Need a Mic poetry story. I haven't yet figured out how I'm gonna present um, this podcast, but let's just say I need a Mic poetry story for now. And I definitely will keep that going because that's easy to remember. So, welcome back to I Need a Mic, of course. In episode 3, we stood in that space just before expression, the nerves, the quiet root trolls, the courage it takes to begin. We talk about fear not as something to avoid, but as something that shows up when we're about to say what matters. So, yes, this is episode 4. If you have watched all 3 episodes, thank you. I appreciate you so much. If you have really tuned into all 4 episodes, I really do. Thank you. It's not. This is something that's not easy. It's not easy to do, but I know I make it look easy, and I can only hope that other people will also keep up with gaining the courage if they haven't yet to do their own podcast. Um, so let me go ahead and be a walking testimony, Let me go ahead and be a living proof that good things will happen when you apply yourself and you make it happen. So, for me, that fear is still there. It doesn't really go away. It just changes shape. Sometimes it's loud, sometimes it's subtle, but it's always present in that moment before I speak. But once you move through that fear, something else starts to surface. Something a little deeper, a little more personal. It just happens. So, um, I wanted to also just talk about some good things that had happened this month. On April 19th, I had host my very own open mic. I did it, y'all. I did it. I finally got the opportunity to show my hosting chops, to have an opportunity to really let my voice be valued, to really let people cherish and celebrate all of what I come in as. And it was a really good turnout, y'all. A really good turnout. I had received some really good positive feedback um, this past Friday, and I also got approved. You're gonna hear it here first. Hold on. So you're gonna hear this here first. I got approved for the open mic to be monthly. I did. I did. I got approved for it to be monthly. So if you weren't able to show up on this month's open mic, then let's hope that you are able to show up for next one. And I already have the date. Um I'll be I'll be announcing it pretty soon. I'll be announcing it pretty soon. Um but yes, so the open mic is at downtown Vallejo, 420 Virginia. 420 Virginia. That is the Solano Art Council gallery. And so it was a packed house. It was a packed house. We had a lot of people come through. Some people spoke up on a mic, and so next time, um, for next month, it'll definitely work out a lot smoother. It's gonna be smoother. So I can't wait. I can't wait for it. Um, but let's just get back into the open mic part real quick. it was a good feeling. It was a good feeling. I was nervous, anxious. Of course, I'm nervous when I'm on the mic, and of course, a lot of people wouldn't know. But I was very anxious just by how things was going to run, and it worked out a lot better once people start to see the process. You know, start to really see, okay, this is very mellow, this is very chill. It don't gotta be something very big. No, it don't have to be something very big. It don't. I mean, it can lead to that. Let's hope in the future. Y'all gotta, if you are around any wood, knock on wood for me, please. Knock on wood for me. That the future open mics will be very big. So, um, I feel like I said, I feel good about it. Um, I want to say, oh my gosh, I want to say I enjoyed it a lot. I loved it a lot. But of course, if you know me, then if you know me, then I strive. Excuse me. I strive on the stage. I strive in front of a mic. I'm a complete different person when I'm performing and when I'm reciting and also when I'm hosting. I'm a different person, and I always had knew that about myself. Other people were just looking back on the outside. It was like, who's this Ray? Who's this? Oh my gosh! So a lot of positive feedback about it. Um, so more to come with that. More to come with that. And who knows? I may keep up. I need a Mike poetry story, just to just to keep my crafts. Just keep my craft, my art, um, really at a good a good pace. You know, um, getting back to being very consistent with the podcast. Um, I had finally achieved my goal, and I brought myself a tablet. I was finally able to buy myself a tablet, and I have all the accessories. Well, not all the accessories, but I have majority of the main important accessories for it. So I will be doing podcast episodes again. I will be doing podcast episodes again, and I could also do the live stream podcast episodes too. So I'm excited for that. I'm very excited for that. I can't wait for that. I cannot wait for me to do more episodes and um, really just get back to doing some things that I didn't stop. I just paused for a little bit because I knew that there was other things I wanted to do. There was other things I wanted to experience. And yeah, I'm busy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm busy. I'm keeping myself busy with my content. And that's what's really gonna happen is I'm gonna be busy with my content. So um I wanna say last week, you know how after after you do something very big, like after you have a show or after you do a talent show, any type of event that you're hosting, that you're putting together, sometimes they hit people after the event had happened, right? Meaning the day of the event, you get to sit in a spot and just let your emotions out, right? My emotions came out last week, and it's been almost 3 weeks since the open mic had happened, and I realized why that was. Like, why did my emotions take his time to really relieve itself? And there was a lot, like I said, there's a lot of emotional anxiety going on. There were just anxiety going on in general. Oh my gosh, like it was a lot. Oh my gosh, it was a lot. And it was a lot mentally, it was a lot emotionally, it was a lot physically, uh internally. but I made it through. I made it through. Like we all know that we all know once I make up my mind to have a goal and it's met or I said it, there's no stopping me, you know? So it felt good to do this open mic. But yeah, no, my emotions had really relieved itself afterwards. Like, I did it, y'all. I had an open mic, y'all. I was a host of an open mic, y'all. I it was just me hosting. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is what it felt good. It really felt good to really do it. Um, what of course would have been so much more glorious for me is I would have been glad to celebrate it with people who know me, friends, family. I did have two cousins showed up. I did have two cousins show up, and that was that was good. That was good. But I'm not gonna even lie to you. Sometimes it's not enough, and it's okay to feel like that. It's okay to know that. It's okay to say that out loud. And I have, of course, reasons for that. And it's because the friends who I grew up with, the family who I'm still close to, or the family who I had reconnected with, you know, they weren't there to show up and show out the way I had dreamt in my head of what would have happened, you know? And it emotionally hit me that I gotta stop having these, I call them white picket dreams. It hurts. Mm. It hurts to say you gotta stop having a certain mindset of what I vision would be, perfect. And like emotionally it just took me there. It took me there. And so I was like, oh my gosh, my sister's not here. My sisters are not here. My brothers are not here. My other cousins who I'm close to are not here. My dad, my mom, my you know, just my circle. And it hurt. I'm not gonna even lie to you. It hurt to know only two people showed up who's in my family. And I was like, all right, I gotta stop with this white picket fence vision, with this white picket fence mindset, with this white picket fence dreaming. I just gotta stop it and let it be. And so I'm letting it be. I'm letting it be. But man, I wish Rosalind was here to see this. I know she is a spirit, but I wish my siblings were here to witness it. Um, sorry. Whew. Um, but good turnout. It was a good turnout, and I enjoyed myself. I really did enjoy myself. And now, leading, you know, going forward, it's going to be monthly. So hopefully, other people who weren't able to show up will show up this time. Um, if not, I'm not tripping about it. Um, like I said, I gotta stop with this white picket fence dreaming. So respectfully, if you are incapable to give back the same support, give back the same love, give back the same respect, give back the same value, give back the same cherishment, I'm not gonna expect it out of you. And I will only hope that you will know that I'm not going to be making my time to say, hey, I'm willing to really do this. I'm willing to really show up, but there's nothing coming back in return. Um, I can only hope, I can only hope that I will be proven wrong. I want friends to show up. I want family to show up. I want everyone to show up to something that means a lot to one person or means a lot to many people. I'm just speaking in general. And I will try my best to show up as well too. And um, I really want to make the time to show up for people and to supporters. So I'm gonna try my best. I'm really gonna be trying hard to really do it. Um, Financially this year, it's not gonna be easy for me, but I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna make it work. When there's a will, there's a way, and my will is just as strong as my spirit. My will just as strong as my spirit. So, who is the voice that's speaking? And for me, that question hits differently because in everyday life, excuse me, because in everyday life, when I'm anxious, I stutter. You may not hear it now, or sometimes you're going to hear it. My words catch, they trip over each other. Sometimes I know exactly what I want to say, but it doesn't come out the way I hear it in my head. So when I'm next question is when but when I'm reciting my poetry, I don't stutter. I really don't. I'm gonna be for it's like I do at some points. If I don't hear the recording of the poem I want to recite, um, this is what I've been doing, and I'm hoping that this technique and advice will help, um, you know, many of you to recite your poetry or to get the courage to go on the stage. It's it's different. I really what I was gonna say was at times when I want to recite various poems and I'm having a hard time to organically recite them, I really record the poems I want to recite. And what I do is before I go on a mic, I go back and I play the recording, and I basically remember the tone, the pace, um, and the attitude that I had performed when I was recording. So that helps me out from stuttering from time to time. So I can only hope that helps you if you happen to have any type of stage fright, if you happen to have any type of speech impairment, if you have any type of anxiety, um, just record your poetry, and when you're ready to recite it, go back and just listen to the recording and let that recording be your boost. You know, be your mindset of how you can get into the mood or get into your mode. So not in the same way, I don't stutter. Not in the same way. Not with the same weight. And that's something I had to sit with because it made me realize my voice doesn't go away when I was anxious. It it wasn't broken. It wasn't less than. It just needed a different kind of space to exist. And poetry gave me that space. Poetry gave me that space. So today in episode 4, I'm talking about vocal identity, not just as a concept, but as something lived, something personal, something you might not even fully understand yet, but you feel it. It's there, right? So I want to, as so many of you know, whenever I do podcast episodes, I always say a poem for each episode. So I do the same for I needed my poetry story. So this is something new. Um, I don't have a title for this, but it's just something I like to keep, particularly for the episodes, because I feel a different. I feel like it's a different feel when you write something related to something, and it's like, not everybody gonna know what it is I'm talking about. Oh crap. Okay, well, I don't want to recite something that is meant for only one thing. So I like to write poems for each episode, whether it's podcast, this, or yeah, whether it's a podcast or whether it's this. I like to write poems that is related to the episode. So this is the piece right here. There are words I try to carry in conversations every day, but they stumble at the doorway and somehow slipped away. They catch inside my throat, get tangled, incomplete, like thoughts that know they're meeting but can't quite find their feet. I felt my voice betray me in rooms I couldn't control. Every pulse, a quiet question: do they hear me at all? But give me a poem, a rhythm, a line, a place to stand, and suddenly that silence loosens its grip on my hand. The words don't rush or scattered. They don't fight to be released. They settle into something steady, something softer, something me. And I don't know what change, and I don't know what changes. If it's breath or pace or trust, but the voice I thought was fragile doesn't feel as broken as it once was. And maybe it's the honesty, or the permission to feel. Maybe it's knowing I don't have to rush to prove that I am real. Because poetry doesn't ask me to be quick or smooth or clear. It lets me take my time with truth. It lets my voice appear. Not perfect, not polished, not free from every crack, but present in a way that everyday words sometimes lack. And maybe my voice isn't missing. Maybe it never was. Maybe it just needed a space that could hold it as it does. A place where pauses aren't failures, where silence isn't wrong, where every broken rhythm still belongs inside the song. And if that's what my voice really means, not flawless, not rehearsed, but something deeply honest, even when it feels reversed, then maybe I've been finding mine. And every line I speak, not in the moment I feel strongest, but the ones where I feel weak. Poem. Hope you like that. Hope you like that. Hope you like that. If not, too bad. Ask me if I care. Nah. All jokes aside, of course. So that is that was the piece, the poem. And like I said, I don't always be knowing what I'm gonna write. I just be letting things come to me, and it feels just right. So, final words, of course. Final words. Vocal identity isn't about sounding perfect. It's not about being the most polished, the most confident, or the most put together. Sometimes it's about understanding the difference between how your voice shows up in the world and how it shows up when it's given space. For me, my stutter doesn't define my voice, but it's part of my experience with it. It taught me what it feels like to struggle to be hard to be heard. I'm sorry. It taught me what it feels like to struggle to be heard. And poetry taught me what it feels like to hear myself clearly. That contrast, that's part of my vocal identity. So, if your voice feels inconsistent, if it shows up differently depending on the moment, the environment, the emotion, that doesn't make it less real. It makes it human. You don't have to force your voice into one shape. You don't have to smooth out every edge. Sometimes your voice becomes strongest in a place where you once felt unsure of it. So, I'll leave you with this quote and a question. Where does your voice feel most like itself? Where do your voice feel most like itself? This is I Need a Mic, where we just don't find a voice. We learn to understand, to sit with it, and let it speak in its own way. Keep showing up, keep listening inward, and give your voice the space it's been waiting for. So, folks. Until next time, let words unite and the healing power of I Need a Mic. Y'all take care. Y'all stay safe. And if you have any kids, y'all, please kiss them babies every day.